Have you ever wondered why we behave differently in groups? Welcome to the world of crowd psychology, a captivating realm where the actions of the individual and the collective intertwine. When we're part of a crowd, our behaviors can shift dramatically, often in ways we ourselves wouldn't predict. You see, being part of a group can sometimes feel like donning an invisibility cloak. We blend into the mass, our individuality blurred. This sense of anonymity, coupled with the energy of collective behavior, can lead us to act in ways that deviate from our usual selves. We may become bolder, more daring, or even adopt beliefs that align with the crowd's. The power of the crowd is an intriguing phenomenon. Its influence is so potent that it can sway our actions, our decisions, and even our perceptions. So, what exactly drives this collective behavior? What happens to our individuality when we merge into the crowd? Intrigued? Let's delve deeper into this fascinating aspect of human behavior. Consider the notorious Stanford Prison Experiment. It's one of the most infamous studies in the annals of social psychology, conducted by Philip Zimbardo in 1971. This experiment sought to explore the psychological effects of perceived power, focusing on the struggle between prisoners and prison officers. Zimbardo and his team transformed the basement of the Stanford University Psychology Building into a mock prison. They randomly assigned 24 male students, all of whom had no criminal background and were deemed physically and psychologically healthy, to the roles of either prisoners or guards. Almost immediately, the participants began to internalize their roles. The guards, endowed with mirrored sunglasses and uniforms, started to exhibit authoritative and abusive behavior towards the prisoners. They subjected the prisoners to psychological torture, including humiliation and isolation. On the other side, the prisoners, donning smocks and stocking caps, began to show signs of extreme stress and anxiety. The experiment, originally slated to last for 2 weeks, had to be terminated after just 6 days due to the escalating severity of the guards' abusive tactics and the prisoners' emotional distress. Zimbardo himself got so engrossed in his role as the superintendent that he overlooked the ethical boundaries until an outsider intervened. The Stanford Prison Experiment offers a chilling glimpse into how individuals can conform to assigned roles, especially in a group setting, and how these roles can influence behavior. It demonstrated that the situation, rather than their personality traits, influenced the participants' behavior. This phenomenon is known as the situational attribution. However, it's worth noting that the experiment has been criticized for its ethical issues and methodological flaws. Despite these criticisms, the experiment remains a stark reminder of the power of situational forces and group dynamics. This experiment starkly highlights how group settings can influence behavior. It serves as a formidable testament to the fact that under certain circumstances, ordinary individuals can engage in actions that they would normally find reprehensible. But remember, while the power of the group can be formidable, it doesn't absolve individuals of personal responsibility. Let's switch gears to another potent example. The Asch conformity experiments. In the mid-20th century, a psychologist by the name of Solomon Asch conducted a series of experiments that shed light on the powerful sway of conformity within groups. Asch's experiments were simple yet revealing. Participants were presented with a line and asked to match it with another line of the same length from a selection of 3. The catch? The participant was in a room full of actors, all of whom would deliberately choose the incorrect line. You might think that, faced with such an obvious error, the participant would stick to their guns, right? Interestingly, Asch's results showed otherwise. A significant number of participants, almost 75%, conformed to the majority view at least once, choosing the clearly incorrect line. This wasn't because they couldn't see the difference, but because they didn't want to go against the group. This phenomenon, known as conformity, is the act of matching our attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors to group norms. It's a powerful social force driven by our innate desire to fit in and be accepted by others. We're social creatures after all. The need to belong, to feel connected, is deeply ingrained in our psyche. But what's particularly intriguing about the Asch experiments is that they highlight just how far we're willing to go to conform. Even when the group is clearly wrong, we often choose to align ourselves with the majority rather than risk standing out. We suppress our own judgment, our own perception of reality, in favor of the collective view. This is not to suggest that conformity is inherently bad. There are many situations where conforming to group norms is beneficial, even essential. But, as the Asch experiments illustrate, it can also lead us astray, causing us to make decisions that are not in our best interest or that conflict with our own perceptions and beliefs. As you can see, the pressure to conform within a group can be overwhelming. Now you might be wondering, what's the psychology behind all this? Well, let's unravel this mystery. At the heart of crowd behavior lies a fascinating mix of psychological factors. One such factor is groupthink, a phenomenon where people in a group tend to conform to the majority view, even if it contradicts their personal beliefs. It's like a hive mind, where the collective opinion overpowers individual judgment. Another intriguing concept is deindividuation. It's when individuals immersed in a crowd lose their personal identity and start behaving impulsively, often in ways they wouldn't as an individual. Why? Because they feel anonymous and less accountable for their actions. Lastly, we have the social identity theory. This theory suggests that we adopt certain behaviors to align ourselves with the group we identify with. It's our need to belong that drives us to act in ways that reflect our group's norms and values. These complex psychological phenomena help explain why we often behave so differently in groups. So, the next time you find yourself in a crowd, you might want to take a moment to observe the dynamics at play. Today, we've explored the fascinating world of crowd psychology, from the Stanford Prison Experiment, which demonstrated how roles and authority can influence our actions, to the Asch conformity experiments, revealing our innate desire to fit in with the group. We've also delved into the mechanisms that drive crowd behavior, highlighting how our individual identities can be subsumed by the collective identity of the crowd. This understanding underscores the power of crowd psychology and its potential impact on our individual behavior. It's a reminder that our actions, decisions, and even our perceptions can be swayed by the invisible forces of the groups we find ourselves in. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the psychology of crowds, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Brain Secrets for more intriguing insights into the human mind.